Hello and welcome to Not That This, the pop culture talk show where I interview artists and influencers to find out their fool's gold and hidden gems. Those massively popular things that they hate and those unknown or underrated masterpieces that they love. My name's Geraint Evans and I've made my peace with it. So this is episode 13. Like I've said many times, I want you to have a creative voice in this podcast. You get to choose my theme tune. I'll tell you how to do that at the end of the episode. Today I speak to Dominic Berry, a supremely lovely chap. He's a poet, a spoken word artist. We actually recorded this interview up at the Edinburgh Fringe in August, but we were a bit naughty and spoke about a tour that Dominic was potentially going to do in South America before it was finalised. It looks like it's going ahead now, so I can finally post this interview. Dominic is one of these people who just seems excited to be doing anything, whether that's performing or meeting and speaking to a new person like myself. We spoke in the storeroom of a pub at the Fringe, so there are a few rough edits in this episode where we've been interrupted and had to move slightly, but that all adds to the fun of it. Here we go. Nice to meet you, Dominic. Hello.
Oh, it's brilliant to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
It's quite all right, mate. It's quite right. I've just come from watching Dominic's show No Tigers, which I would heartily recommend anyone in South America who might be going along to.
Yeah, that's going to be the next one. I'm doing a Greater Manchester tour as soon as I'm finished with the Fringe, so it'll be several dates around there. Then I'm doing a South England tour of the show, and then off to Argentina and Uruguay, which has only happened because of being at the Fringe. So, you know, the Fringe is such a hotbed of emotions. You know, people come in knowing there's the potential for a big tour or a big reviewer or a bit on telly, and that leads to so much anxiety. And of course, sometimes nothing happens. Sometimes a reviewer comes in and people think getting a reviewer in is good, and they forget that sometimes a reviewer might say not nice things. They forget that. Yeah. So that's a possibility. It's my 5th Fringe in a row, so I'm getting to the point now where I kind of feel like I've seen a lot of the possible outcomes, and I'm able to treat all eventualities with a little bit more calmness than I have done in previous years.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly something. So I know a lot of comedians. I've spoken to comedians on this show, but the staying mentally healthy in the Fringe question I often bring up. Because it's a tough month.
Yeah.
Like, doing a show every day, trying to get people in, that can be a struggle.
Yeah.
Like, is there anything that you do just to try and stay a bit, you know?
Yeah, like eat really healthily, you know, it's all the old cliches, isn't it? Get loads of exercise. We've got a little poets running group. We go running up the kind of Arthur's Seat mountain way. Not all the way to the top, but enough to kind of get the blood pumping and, you know, physical exercise and good diet to just get forgotten too often.
That is the healthiest suggestion anyone's given me, so...
Everyone else like, whiskey?
One guy likes to stick his headphones on and just be there for a bit. And, my friend Stefan, he watches an episode of Doctor Who every day.
Very good, very good. I'm currently listening to all the music on my iPod in order of alphabetical by artist.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm currently on M for Marilyn Manson.
Wonderful.
After that will be Martha Reeves, then Marvin Gaye, Massive Attack. You know, it's like it's a good thing to just systematically. There's something very controlled about that I like amongst the lack of control here at the Fringe.
That's quite nice as well, because you find, I think, on iPods, MP3 players, you often miss the music you've put on there.
Yeah.
You know, you get stuck in a rut.
Totally.
Yeah. So that's quite nice to finding your own hidden gems.
Yeah.
So what I got from your show, just watching it, you're like a relentlessly positive person. I mean, there are deep bits in there, but you seem to really put energy into being positive. Like that's the main feeling I got.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that hopefully I'm a realist. I mean, I'm thinking about writing a show, follow-up to this, kind of looking at sort of success and what is success. Because I'll tell you something that really helped me, and it's a dodgy thing to talk about.
Right.
Are you aware of the book The Secret?
I've heard of the book.
It's one of these awful self-help books. The reason I use the word awful is because at the root of it is a really problematic thing. The secret, to those who aren't familiar, the secret is positivity is a magnet, so positivity attracts positivity. So if you just praise me on being positive, if you're positive, positive things will happen to you. The problem with that, of course, is the book does kind of go on to a little bit of like victim shaming, really. Like if you're in a car accident, you didn't think happy enough thoughts.
Right.
And I've got a poem in my show called Hard-Working Families that actually critiques that whole concept that if you're a hard-working person, as the Conservative government want us to all have a British version of the American dream, work hard and anything's possible. Well, I think that's bollocks. I think that some people really do their best and terrible bad luck befalls them. But having said that, it was reading The Secret that really made me go freelance. I just thought, yeah, come on, let's just do it. Let's just believe that people are going to book me, and they will. I quit my day job way before I was getting a significant amount of poetry bookings to sustain me, and I've now been full-time freelance touring the world with my poetry for 10 years, and I do attribute it to a secret-like state of mind. So I think what I'm saying is I do believe that if you go around going, oh, nothing good's ever going to happen to me, that's not helpful. I really do believe that. I really do believe that. That's not a helpful thing. But, you know, bad things happen to good people as well.
Yeah, no, there's very little you can do. When certain things happen to you, you know, you can be just a couple of moves away, really, on the chessboard from horrible situations. Okay, all right. So shall we go on? Shall we move? Shall we find your fool's gold?
Yes.
What massively popular item, any medium, do you hate?
I think it's splendid that slam poetry, performance poetry, poetry that is delivered in a wonderfully engaging manner is on the rise. That's brilliant. I'm not going to criticise the adverts for the Nationwide Building Society that a lot of people lay into. I do think that ultimately they're a force for good because the artists who do them, they've got all of them have got great poems, all of them have. And I think that the Nationwide Building Society ads can be a gateway drug to get people addicted to the good stuff. Obviously, the Nationwide Building Society ads are going to use nice poems. You heard in my show my poem, Men Locked Behind Toilet Doors. Yes. That's a poem that's not going to get used on a nationwide ad.
I imagine not.
It's a poem of a more bleak nature. There is a video of it on YouTube for anyone who wishes to investigate the poem to which we refer. So I'm fine with happy poems if they're part of something wider. You spoke of my positivity being part of the deeper set that I do. I'm not okay with the rise of performance poetry that is merely entertainment. There are people here on Edinburgh Fringe who are packing out venues with poetry shows that do not contain one single opinion on anything, and they're hugely popular. And I am very much of the political belief that in these turbulent times, in these Donald Trump times, in these Theresa May times, in these food bank times, in these bedroom tax times, if you say nothing, if you are silent, you are siding with the oppressor. We cannot remain silent. And there are people around the world whose voices are not listened to, people ignored, people who do not have the platform that I have as a spoken word artist, that all of us as performance poets, we have this platform, and if we don't say anything, there are people who do entire shows just about, you know, silly, flippant jokes. And I kind of think if you call yourself a spoken word artist, if you call yourself a poet, you must have some content. And so I'm not going to lay into the nationwide ads, but I do think we judge success on money. We judge success on money, and a lot of people, the nationwide ads are the highest paid they'll have received. They pay well, those ads, right? So some people would go, oh, so that's their most successful poem. No, they're nice poems about nice things. And all of the artists who've done them have got other poems about deep stuff too. That's the only reason that they're of use. You know, I am proud of, near the start of my show, I do a poem about being so into online video gaming, you can't pull yourself away, so you end up crapping yourself.
Yeah.
And, you know, technically I've tried to put in 24 consecutive multi-syllabic rhymes, so it's like a little bit of an artistic challenge for me to make that the case. I've tried to be concise in my storytelling, so it used to be a lot longer, that poem, and I've tried to make it as brief as possible, but ultimately it's to get the crowd on side, to get them laughing, relaxed. I'm not going to do a whole set of that, and I worry that I think my art form that I love so much, that's the way it's going. Those are the crowds getting the biggest thing, because it's chewing gum for the brain. It's chewing gum for the brain, and we don't need that. Grr is what I say to that. Grr.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I mean, and because it's not just poetry either. It seems to be all mediums now that entertainment defeats like content, and context. You go to a Hollywood movie and you're not going to see an in-depth perspective on war, say. You're just going to get, oh, look at the cool explosions. Because that's what makes the most money, that's what they put the most money into making.
I think there's more depth in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, whose entire purpose is to make money and not be too shocking. Yeah. There's more depth in those movies than some of the performance poets who I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's be fair. Maybe these performance poets, they're self-employed people. They want to pay their bills. They've got families, and they're not earning that much. So maybe they want to. But why are you doing it? Why are you doing it?
Yes.
Why are you doing it? Do you know what I mean? Like, when you've got this platform, why are you doing it? You know, I think you've always got to go. Tell you a poet who I really admire at the moment.
Okay.
I really admire Tony Walsh. Now, Tony Walsh has been someone who has written a lot of really nice poems over the years.
Right.
And since the terrible tragedy in Manchester, where he was given the opportunity to share his "This Is the Place" poem in front of huge audiences, he's gone on and write some hugely political things. On Channel 4 there's a poem about council housing's decline, you know, homes being sold off and to richer people, and the need for quality housing, and for him to take the risk to use this kind of platform he's been given to talk about stuff that really matters, to get people having conversation. Thinking, I've got huge respect for that. Huge respect. But also I think that's the minimum baseline requirement for us as poets to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, like, in my head, you know, poetry has always been, you know, associated sort of politically. Like, it's for that, is what I think about, you know, spoken word.
Quite. We've already got Pam Ayres. We've got Pam Ayres. She's still with us. You know, we don't need more Pam Ayres. If my life stands for one thing, it's that. We don't need more Pam Ayres.
That is fantastic. All right, so shall we talk about something a bit nicer then? Something a bit happier. What's your hidden gem?
So video games are popular, aren't they?
They are popular.
They are.
Yeah.
There's a big divide at the moment. It has been for a number of years since like phones have started doing apps.
Yeah.
They've really taken off and damaged a lot of the video game market. There's this big gulf now between the high expense movie levels of budget into the sandbox open world video gaming, which you know, those games don't do it for me, and don't do it for a lot of people, because they're too complicated. They do not feel like games.
They're an investment, right?
When the Lego video games started, I loved the early ones, the Star Wars one, the Batman ones, because they felt like games. They were levels. You did a bit, you completed it, final boss, awesome. Everybody's like, oh, haven't the Lego games got better? No, I think, you know, again, like, they're not something you just pick up and play, which you can do with the apps. But then the apps on phones and whatnot, they tend to be maybe a bit too far into the land of simplicity, and I really miss like the 8-bit, 16-bit generation. And there's some nostalgia and there's some games that never get old, like everyone's always celebrating Sonic the Hedgehog and Street Fighter 2, and that's brilliant. My all-time favourite video game, and it's the thing that's got me through Edinburgh Fringe, to go back to refer, as well as healthy eating and exercise, Shining Force. Let me make this a platform for singing the praises of Shining Force.
I don't think I've ever heard... Like, I'm a video game guy. I don't think I've ever heard of Shining Force.
It originally came out on the Sega Mega Drive. It was around the sort of time as Final Fantasy. So Final Fantasy is massively taken off. Yeah. But Shining Force, I don't know, there's something about it that's so similar to listening to all the music on your iPod in alphabetical order. It's like really super structured. It's a proper like grid turn-based strategy game, and the animations are all very kind of like swords and sorcery and action, but there's no action in it because it's all just like it's a lot like chess. It's a lot like just moving your little piece around and whatnot. Yeah, so I think that there's something to be said for games which go to different parts of your brain. It's a storytelling game as well, particularly the Game Boy Advance remake. That kind of adds some little sort of soap opera-esque sort of family dramas and whatnot. And I think that this game, no one remembers it, and like whereas Final Fantasy has become a behemoth of like popularity in the RPG genre, Shining Force is this little forgotten thing, and it was there first. It was there first.
Wow, I mean, I can't... I mean, I know games, and I'm really surprised. Someone did this to me the other day with a sci-fi TV show. They just found a sci-fi I'd never heard of. And I was like,
wow, do you recall the name of it?
It's called Lex.
Oh, no, I'm not familiar with that. My favourite show is Star Trek Next Generation, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, so like I am of that persuasion. If everything I haven't already said hasn't made that obvious that I'm a massive nerd who listens to his music in order of alphabetical by artist, you know, like
but that's great. That's why you're here, man.
My first ever touring poetry show for adults, I made loads of Shining Force references in. Of course, no one got them, and like we sampled little sound effects from the video game.
Wow, that's cool.
Hopefully, it wasn't too niche that people who had no idea what the game was. It was kind of like a little additional thing in it. But it's just there's something so rewarding about all the numbers and statistics and grids and moving, but then I do think maybe that's my brain. In the same way, like I mentioned the crapping yourself poem with the multi-syllabic rhyme, isn't it funny what we're interested in? I'm hugely interested by like patterns and rhythms and repetition and structures. I'm really interested in that in art, and the structure is so prevalent in Shining Force, and I really enjoy that.
That's good. I think there's a lot to be said for those old school kind of games, and they're kind of coming back now, like on PC with Steam.
That's
you get
true.
a lot of indie games now. Alright, okay, brilliant. Shining Force, that's one for me to look up. So now we'll round it up. We'll do some quick fire questions.
Yes, let's do it.
Just your favourite and your least favourite things, right? I'm going to shout them out at you. So your favourite TV show.
Oh, well, I did say Star Trek, but really, if anyone remembers the kids' show Nightmare, where am I?
Wow.
You're in a room. Sidestep left. No, I meant right. So that's great. Least favourite, like all the reality stuff, all the kind of Love Island. Actually, no, as a vegan artist, all the kind of I'm a celebrity, let's eat a crocodile's anus, you know, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay, movies.
Oh, I do love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I was defending it earlier.
Fair.
Also, the Alien franchise. I think that it's probably the franchise that is the most loved by people who hate most things within the franchise. That's an interesting thing. Least favourite movie. Oh, I don't know. What? I'm not too much of a movie buff to really have seen enough to slag anything off. I guess ones that really super like glorify men beating up other men unless they're wearing tights and capes. Then it's fine.
Then it's fine. Right? Yeah. All right. So we've got Shining Force, right? But video games.
Other than the RPGs, I really love the martial arts ones like Mortal Kombat or Tekken. Video games that I'm less into. I mentioned the open world stuff before, so as much as I really, really want to, the games where like the Assassin's Creed ones, I've got a friend's teenage lad who's really into them, and there's only so much like creeping really slowly down a crowded market I can cope with.
That's fair. Band.
Band as opposed to singer-songwriter. Okay.
I mean, you can do a singer-songwriter. I'm not going to judge.
Okay. I speak a lot of Leonard Cohen in my show, so Leonard Cohen, Kate Bush, David Bowie are up there with my favourites. People I don't like. Well, again, a bit like I was saying with the poetry thing, I kind of question people who've got a platform who don't use it to say anything at all. Anyone whose entire output contains work of like, I love you, oh, you don't love me, I'm brokenhearted, or we're together. If that's all it is, then that's of limited interest to me.
That's fair enough. Where are we up to? Superheroes.
Ooh, least favourite superhero, but they're all so good. I guess because this is supposed to be quick fire, although I love the movies, I guess I wouldn't necessarily want to sit in a bar with Iron Man for too long. What a nerdy answer that is. I really like Wonder Woman after all the DC films being rubbish. Batman versus Superman, that's a film I don't like. I'm so unbiased. I'm so biased that I just love them all. But Batman versus Superman, oh my goodness, that went on. But Wonder Woman has kind of saved the genre for me, I think, of DC superhero movies.
Okay. Novel.
I really dislike Lord of the Rings. I've tried so hard, and Lord of the Rings inspired so much stuff that I'm massively obsessed with. Shining Force is completely Lord of the Rings thing, but it's inspired by it. It's concise. It's version 2.0 or 20,002.0, But the original Lord of the Rings and the Ninth Tree had 15 million leaves. That doesn't do it for me at all. I'm going to go, instead of novel, for book in general for my favourite. So poetry, Universal, Rent Boy by Chloe Poems, In Heaven the Onions Make You Laugh by Rob Orton, Jackie Hagan's Wisdom of the Jumble Sale. Poetry books for sure.
Great. So those are my quick fire cues. There's just one more thing. If someone's going to make the story of your life, what medium would it be in? And what would you call it?
I think I'd like a silent clown show, a kind of like black and white French experimental. I think for performance poetry to have no words would be really...
That'd be great,
just like miming the way through men locked behind toilet doors would be really, with big painted face and, little teardrop.
That'd be amazing.
On the cheek. So that would be in grainy sort of sepia colours, perhaps. But someone really modern playing it, like Justin Bieber or Justin Timberlake playing me. Definitely.
What would you call it?
I'd call it Vegan Paradise in a post-Grindr apocalypse.
Wow, that's an intense title. An intense theme
with clowns in brackets. with clowns.
Oh, fantastic.
Rated 12A.
Oh dear. Well, thank you, Dominic Berry.
Thank you for having us. It's been great.
It's been lovely. Goodbye.
Wow, so that was Dominic Berry, such a lovely man. He's always on the move, always gigging, so go and check out his website, dominicberry.net, or find him on Twitter. I'd really recommend going to see him. I always love talking to people so unashamedly nerdy. I think a lot of people tend to apologise for their geeky passions, but there's Dominic riding to the defence of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I do also enjoy, incidentally. I'm not a hater. As I mentioned at the top, you can help me choose the theme tune for this show. The first 5 episodes all have different theme musics, which I will then repeat over episodes 6 to 10 and 11 to 15. There are 3 ways you can vote for which one you want, either by making a comment on a donation to the podcast on thatthispod.com, by reviewing the show on iTunes, or you can share the podcast on social media, tagging me in at thatthispod. So that I know which episode you want, I've come up with a little code. In the comment on your donation or in the review or share of the show, include the word ocelot, tiger, thrush, fox and falcon. That's for the musics in 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, repeated in 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. This particular episode is thrush. Be as creative with that as you like, and I'll tally up the votes, and whatever you decide will be the official Not That This theme music. Of course, if you've got anything else to say, you're welcome to email me as well. So if you've got some praise, advice, questions, suggestions or abuse, do let me know. The email address is on the website, or if you know how to spell my name, it's geraint@thatthispod.com. In the next episode, I speak to geek culture journalist and podcaster Gavia Baker Whitelaw. She writes for the Daily Dot and she's very good at it. One of the few journalists that I'll actually check to see if the latest thing they've written is up. So we get all geeky about TV and it's a lot of fun. I'll catch you then.